So Neil deGrasse Tyson is an astrophysicist, and he's a pretty popular one. He has been making some political statements in the past year or so, and he has been going after Trump. He's been a very outspoken critic of Trump. He is what I would call kind of the figurehead or the front line of the defense for things like arts and the sciences. So the fact that NASA is like one of the lowest paid things by tax dollars. He's kind of the guy who wants to increase that, and he's the one defending a lot of science because, the sciences don't really get much funding. And a big problem with NASA is that they could do all of these different things if they had the funds. And I'd rather have that money go to NASA than I would with the exploded military budget. But anyways, this is Neil deGrasse Tyson we're talking about, not me. Even though I'm sure he would agree. So he went on a tweet storm. Here's what he said. He said, "The fastest way to make America weak again. Cut science funds to our agencies that support it." Yeah, so that's not a bad point, actually. If you think about it, a lot of our weaponry that makes us a strong nation came from you need science, right? Like nuclear weapons, for sure. That was a whole, the Manhattan Project, nuclear science, nuclear physics, nuclear chemistry, all of that stuff. He also said, "The fastest way to make America sick again, cut funding to the National Institutes of Health." Yeah, this is one of the dumbest things, in my opinion, as well as many others, because cutting insurance for people who can't afford it. And I'm sorry, guys, but you're not going to win on this. Republicans, you're never going to win on this, because when you vote against people's insurance, they're going to vote your ass out. And if the metric is how many people are insured, the one that will win is single payer, not your fucking anarchist capitalism piece of shit. The fastest way to make America stupid, cut funds to programs that support education. So it's a very good point. A democracy is actually bound to fail if you don't have an educated population. And on top of that, if you don't do certain governmental intervention, people will either have extremely low quality education or pretty much not really get it at all. So the way I see it is, if you privatize the whole thing, there's going to be a ton of people who can't even get education. Right now, what I see is, in places like, I'm going to give you an example, like Flint, Michigan, right? How many times do we see in places like Detroit and Michigan where there will be people that get interviewed? I've seen some interviews with Jordan Sheridan, who will go into Michigan and he'll interview these African Americans in these communities, and they'll be saying how, I saw this also in the Michigan debate, in Flint, Michigan, that the water fountains wouldn't even work at some of these schools. I mean, how ridiculous is that? So they don't have textbooks, the teachers stink, everyone's using drugs, and the environments are garbage, and it's just, how are you supposed to succeed? It's impossible. But anyways, the fastest way to thwart Earth's life support systems for us all, turn EPA into EDA, the Environmental Destruction Agency. This is absolutely true. The idea that we don't need an EPA right now is ridiculous. Climate change, with the way we're going at right now, the way it works is the CO2 rises. It can't get out of our environment, and therefore the temperatures will rise a few degrees, and as a result, the ice glaciers will melt, and then we won't have any fucking water. So we're losing about, I believe it's over 200 billion tons of ice sheets per year in between Greenland and Iceland. The fastest way to melt glaciers and flood the world's coastal cities. Ignore scientists and do nothing to stem the rise of CO2. So again, that's something that is denied, legitimately denied by Scott Pruitt, is that CO2 is not a cause of global warming and climate change. Dude, you're a jackass. We can imagine a land that provides no support for art, but is that a place you'd want to live, to visit, to play? I think that the idea of cutting arts for the purpose of expanding the military is really stupid. And I think that a country that is Like, with such a big fucking budget, you can't even cover the small amount that goes to arts? And you're gonna give them money to go bomb some Middle Eastern country that's has its population fucking shitting in holes? What are we thinking? We want to be more educated. We want to be the generation that finds the next cure to cancer. We want to be the ones that find the new planets that are habitable for human beings. You know, all of these different things. So it's really dumb. The very best way to support and feed your delusions. Surround yourself with people whose worldviews match yours exactly. Then he ends it with, we all want to make America great again, but that won't happen until we first make America smart again. I totally agree with you, dude. I think knowledge is power. Education is key to everything. And Neil deGrasse Tyson going in, I respect it, I appreciate it, and Trump's a fucking jackass. What's up, guys? It's Saul Hill here. You guys are watching The Progressive Voice. Make sure you guys click subscribe down below. We're fighting Donald Trump tooth and nail, and we need your help.